Hey guys, my name is Collin Julian. I am an endurance athlete and I used to weigh over 380 pounds. I lost over 100 pounds and like I said, I'm now an endurance athlete that specializes in long distance running. This is my new YouTube series, Fat to Fit and How I Did It. Coming up in this week's episode of Fat to Fit and How I Did It. It doesn't matter what kind of emotion I was feeling, food was my comfort. I would walk at night because I was embarrassed for people to see me because I was so heavy. And the want for me to better my health, lose the weight, and it actually took a health scare. And I'm lucky it didn't go farther than just a scare. So I remember the call like it happened yesterday. Everybody hops on the engine. I was in the captain's seat, pull up on scene. I'm telling the driver, operator where to go, where to park. We get up there. I get off the truck, do my initial assessment, start getting stuff to start attacking the fire, and I just keep working because that's what we do. And I honestly don't have a good sense of when to shut off when I need to. Knew I needed to make some changes. At the rate I was going to end up dead or in the hospital. The changes. What changes I had to implement, how I went about it kind of. So I instantly knew even before I started my weight loss journey or anything that my eating was my problem. And that is where it got dangerous. I got very, very sick. To snap me out of it and bring me out of it and make your journey that much more easier. That is what I'm here for. And if I can just help one person, that's what I want to do. All right, so I guess we're just gonna dive right in. Bear with me as we're moving into our new house. So new area, unfamiliar place. This is episode 1 of my new series, Fat to Fit and How I Did It. In episode 1, I'm gonna tell my story. So I hope you guys enjoy it. It's definitely gonna be really interesting. As you guys know already, my name's Collin Julian. I'm an endurance athlete and I used to weigh over 380 pounds. I lost over 100 pounds. At my heaviest, I was 380 pounds. Unhappy, unhealthy, and honestly, food was my comfort. That's what I would go to if I was upset, having a bad day, excited. It doesn't matter what kind of emotion I was feeling, food was my comfort. I honestly started my healthy weight loss journey right before COVID hit. Before COVID had hit our area, I actually ended up getting sick. I don't know if it was COVID. The doctor said it was a really bad flu, that I pretty much almost got pneumonia. It set me back some, but I was still doing my healthy stuff even through the sickness, which is crazy. I don't know what changed in that way, but before, anytime I got sick, I would just fall off the rails. And then when COVID did hit and the lockdown came, the shutdown, all that, a lot of people ended up gaining weight because they were off work, they were at home, had time and opportunity to eat. I was the exact opposite. That's when I locked in on my fitness, dialed everything in, and I'm very thankful for that. I figured I would have been the other way, like everybody else, eat, gain weight, sit. No, that's when I got into being more active, got into running. So what I initially started out doing when I first started my fitness journey and my weight loss journey, I was eating healthier, tracking my calories to an extent. I would track them on a piece of paper. I didn't have an app or a food scale or nothing like that yet. And I would just eat mindful, and I was eating already better than I had before, so I started seeing progress, which gave me motivation. Once I saw the number on the scale starting to go down, my motivation instantly spiked. I was doing a lot of weightlifting at the time, and I was going on nightly walks. I would walk at night because I was embarrassed for people to see me because I was so heavy. So I would wait till like 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I would just walk around town. I'd do like a mile turned into 2 miles, turned into 3 miles, etc. And then once that started to get easier, one night I was going to visit somebody and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try to run. So that's what I did. I ran. It was dark, nobody could see me. I ran there and I'm like, I think I can do this. After that, we would start walking out of the Veterans Cemetery. A lot of people go out there and walk because it has a large road kind of track around it, and then it has an area that's just a straightaway, and that's where I started out my running and walking out there. But once the lockdown and shutdown lifted, I had built a great base to continue my journey. You don't need a lockdown or anything like that to get you going. You can start building your base right away, right now, just by doing and making healthier and better choices. Once that did go away, I had already had that base built for me, so it was easier to carry on. And contrary to what people say or believe, a weight loss journey doesn't have to be horrible or miserable. It actually can and is fun and enjoyable. It was fun and enjoyable for me. And it's because I made it that way. People do make it where you don't enjoy it and where it's miserable, and it's all about your mindset and how you do it. You've got to find changes and things you can eat, do, etc. that you enjoy so you can stick to it and make it sustainable, because it's a lifestyle change. It's not a short period of time. It's not, hey, let's go on this diet, lose this weight, and instantly, once that's over, we can go back to eating our old ways. No, you have to make changes in your habits, your eating and stuff like that you can sustain for the rest of your life. And it really can be fun, easy, and rewarding. So now we're going to move on to my why. What set the change in motion and the want for me to better my health, lose the weight, and it actually took a health scare, and I'm lucky it didn't go farther than just a scare, to get me more serious about the weight loss journey and getting healthier overall in general. Most of you know I'm a firefighter, so I'm just going to tell the whole story. I have helmet camera footage from that day that's going to be in here as well throughout this part of it. So I remember the call like it happened yesterday. We were at the firehouse. We were doing training, doing search and rescue training. So we'd have somebody that was down inside of a building. The teams would, you'd have a RIT team that was outside in case something happened to the team that was inside. You'd have the search team that would go in and search for the victim. The whole fireground operations going in a scenario. So I was on the initial search team, made entry to the building, found the victim, pull them out. It's very taxing on your body. You're on air on your SCBA, you're crawling on your hands and your knees, you can't see nothing, you're really pushing your body, and I'm doing all of this while I'm over 380 pounds. So we were doing that, got done with my initial set of the training. So we located the victim, extracted them from the building, outside, unpacking, getting everything done from there. So the next team could go in and do what we just did, and the tones drop for a structure fire. So everybody hops on the engine and we take off going route to the call. I was in the captain's seat. We were notified initially when we went en route that this was a fully involved structure. It was actually a outer building, so it wasn't a house. It was a shed, had tractors, trucks, stuff like that in it. We pull up on scene. I'm telling the driver, operator where to go, where to park, and we get up there. I get off the truck, do my initial assessment, start getting stuff to start attacking the fire. I go on air again. I just come off air in training. I go on air. We start attacking the fire, and I just keep working. And all of this at the same time, we're a small rural department, so we don't have a lot of people. Like, in the big cities, they're full-time firefighters. They have set jobs and they're paid to be there. We're volunteers, so all of us are jack of all trades. Like, I can be the person one day that has to operate the engine and the pump, and the next day I can be doing search and rescue, fire attack. It just depends on who shows up and who's there. So we were short-staffed that day. We didn't have a lot of people. We had to call in mutual aid from another department. So there wasn't nobody there to relieve me. So I was doing the work constantly, not being able to take breaks on top of just coming out of that training. Everybody was doing that pretty much. And yeah, I started to get where I couldn't catch my breath. I was a little lightheaded and all of that. But I couldn't stop, and I didn't stop. I should have, and I did not. I kept going, kept pushing through it. I had some chest pains. I felt weak, all that. I was still continuing to fight that fire, put it out, try to save these people's property, because that's what we do. And I honestly don't have a good sense of when to shut off when I need to. I'm kind of gung-ho like that. Anybody that knows me will tell you that. Like, I don't know when to shut off. Yeah, it got really, really bad to the point that I honestly thought I was probably having a heart attack. And I never told anybody that. Eventually, when mutual aid department got on scene, I was able to take a break. They told me to go take a break in the ambulance. They checked me over. My blood pressure was high. Everything was pretty rough, but I was okay as far as not having a heart attack. And so yeah, I never told anybody that I was feeling bad. I never told anybody that I was feeling weird, nothing like that. Finished up that call. I started feeling better later on in the call after I got to recuperate, sit down, relax a little bit, and then I went back and did some other work. But while I was doing that work, I noticed it tired me out quicker. I was feeling not as bad as I was before, but I could tell what happened took a toll on my body. And I knew I needed to make some changes. When I got home that night, I felt like crap. I felt like crap the next day. And it just was running through my head. I could have not been able to go home to my family that night. I could have not been able to do my job properly. I could have, what ifs, what could have. I knew I needed to make a change, and that's what set it into motion. Like, I'd already been making changes, like we said before. Like, this was right before COVID, so like this is what set it in and said, hey, you've got to make changes, you've got to do something. Honestly set me back and made me really think about, I want to be able to be here for my family. I want to be able to, be here for the people I enjoy being around. I want to be able to protect the community, and I could not continue to do that at 380 pounds. At the rate I was going to end up dead or in the hospital. So that is my main reason that set that in motion for me to start making big changes as far as getting healthier, losing weight. That's kind of what gave me the really big punch to get started. The changes. What changes I had to implement, how I went about it, kind of what I did when I knew I needed to do something, because what I was doing wasn't going to work anymore. So I instantly knew, even before I started my weight loss journey or anything, that my eating was my problem. I knew it wasn't a whole lot outside of that. So what I did is I did my research. I took to the internet, which can be a bad thing and can be detrimental if you don't know what you're doing. I didn't know what I was doing, but I got pretty lucky overall. And honestly, I followed YouTubers. Like, my main YouTubers that I followed from day one that helped me tremendously on my weight loss journey were Nick Bare and Will Tennyson. But those were the two main ones. Would not miss an episode. They helped me, and I knew that I needed to track my calories. So I started tracking my calories. Before I learned that, it would help me along to have my FitnessPal or a weight scale for my food and all that, I just tracked it on paper, and I actually still have the papers that I used. I took a little video earlier. I'll throw it up here. I'm not going to use that talking footage, but you can see I still have all the papers and notebooks that I used from day one. And was I perfect from day one? By no means. There were so many days that I fell off track, but even me falling off track then was better eating than I was before, so I was still seeing progress. It might not be like that for everybody, but it was for me because I was so much of an overeater. It was crazy. And yeah, I would just track off of the packages what the calories said per serving. I would eyeball the serving, even though I wasn't the best at that at the time. We'll dive into that later on. And yeah, I would write that down through the day. I didn't know anything right away about carbs, proteins, fats, any kind of macronutrients, nothing. So I was just straight up tracking my calories, walking, and then I got into running a little. But yeah, that's how I started making those changes. Nothing perfect, but changes were made, which initially led to me seeing progress, which led to motivation. So then I moved over and I really wanted to dial everything in. I was really getting into running. I needed to know that I was properly fueling everything, and I had all these tools. I needed to integrate them together. So that's when I found out. I went to the calorie calculator and the TDEE calculator, which is a total daily energy expenditure. Tells you how many calories roundabout that you expend throughout the day, and then your calorie calculator factors in your body weight, your activity levels, all that, to give you a baseline of what calories you need throughout the day to maintain, lose, and or gain weight. So I did that. We'll talk about all that stuff step by step in another episode. I don't want to get you guys overwhelmed in this episode. This is just my story. And then once I did that, I started to lock everything in and see extreme progress, very good progress, and I was doing great. So with that, I started to see the scale drop, and I loved it. I was excited. I was seeing progress. I was making progress with my running, all that stuff. And then I just started to hone in on seeing that number go down on the scale. And that is where it got dangerous. I got very, very sick. And before I go forward, I'm going to say, if you've had an ED or are kind of sensitive to this kind of stuff, talking about EDs, I suggest you move forward on in the video where we're not talking about this. When I saw the scale drop and honed in on that, I was excited, and I just wanted to get leaner and leaner and leaner. Ultimately, you have to have a certain amount of body fat on your body to be able to stay alive. And anyway, I was just stuck on seeing that scale weight drop. It got to the point that I was weak, lethargic, would pretty much get up, do my runs, and then be lethargic all throughout the day and just be useless. I was getting really, really lean to where I literally looked sick. My face started sinking in. I started having other symptoms, and it just started getting really, really bad, and I wasn't noticing it. Everybody else could notice it but me. And it took my family, my fire chief, my friends on the fire department to tell me, hey, Collin, this isn't you. This isn't good. You need to do something. You're getting sick. to snap me out of it and bring me out of it. Once I did that, it kind of felt freeing. I felt a lot better, and I just kind of let go, and I had a big binge. I ate like crazy because I wasn't eating enough. I pretty much starved my body. There was like 2 to 3 days that I ate like crazy. I told a little bit of this story before. If you want to go back and watch, there's a video called New Beginnings. That's when I was very sick, and I pretty much had hit my breaking point of where I wasn't eating enough. And yeah, it sucked, and it was scary, to be honest. So I've been to all spectrums of the weight loss and weight gain, and now I'm at a happy middle. I know what I'm doing for the most part. You know, you can always be learning, but like, I learned from my mistakes in both directions pretty much. So yeah, what really helped me, but also can send you over the edge, is tracking your calories. So I want to warn you, when you do go to track your calories, don't take it to heart, don't do it all the time. And I recommend you only do it for maybe about a month, 2 months, a shorter period of time, until you learn that portion size, until you learn, you know, how to track those calories without that. Because if you're a person that gets stuck on the numbers and emphasizes on that, then it could hurt you and cause you to have an ED like it did for me. But now I do track my calories occasionally if I'm doing stuff and stuff like that, and I still do in MyFitnessPal, but I don't let the numbers get to me. The numbers don't bother me. I'm a numbers guy, but the numbers don't bother me. After that crazy endeavor that I had with not eating enough, I finally found my place. That's why I'm making these videos, because I want to help somebody. If I can help you guys to not make the same mistakes I made and make your journey that much more easier, that is what I'm here for. And if I can just help one person, that's what I want to do. But it's ultimately finding out what works for you. So with that being said, that's mainly the main bulk of my story. I'll sprinkle in the rest of my story throughout the next and upcoming episodes for you guys. That's gonna be this episode pretty much wrapped up. Coming up in the next episode, we're gonna talk about the tools you need to get started. So we're gonna talk about MyFitnessPal. We're gonna talk about the food scale. We're gonna talk about TDE calculator. We're gonna talk about calorie calculator. We're gonna probably go on a grocery haul to show you how to get started in that fitness journey and what you need to look for to help aid in your weight loss stuff, because ultimately no food is off limits. No food is bad for you unless you're like allergic to it or something, but there are foods that will help you along your journey and make it a lot easier versus, say, eating nothing but candy bars. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be up in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I wouldn't be able to be here and do this without you guys. You guys are amazing. If you did enjoy this video, this episode, give the video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already, and share this video out there and put out there this series that I'm coming out with. This is episode 1, and I don't know exactly how many episodes we're going to have throughout the whole series, but this is definitely going to be a great series. We'll see you guys in the next one. As always, thanks for watching. Peace!